Hello, my name is Joey Lemon. I am the English professor at Central Christian College, and Dr. Kaufman, the dean of faculty here, asked me to just talk a little bit about the daily writing process. Or what for me feels like a daily writing discipline. It does seem like something I'm typically inclined just to say no to all offers to do extra things. But it does feel like a fun occasion to champion a cause that I think is really important and has become extremely meaningful in my life, and I know is meaningful to the lives of so many other people. I guess I'd like to start with a poem. I'd just like to start by reading a poem. This is a poem by Robert Bly he did a collection called Morning Poems. As I remember it in the introduction of this book, he talks about how he wouldn't leave his bed until he'd written a poem every morning. And he did this for, I think, maybe an entire year. And this is the poem that opens that collection. Early morning in your room. It's morning, the brown scoops of coffee, the wasp-like coffee grinder, the neighbors still asleep, the gray light as you pour gleaming water. It seems you've traveled years to get here. Finally, you deserve a house. If not deserve it, have it. No one can get you out. Misery had its way, poverty, no money at least. Or maybe it was confusion, but that's over. Now you have a room, those light-hearted books, The Anatomy of Melancholy, Kafka's letter to his father are all here. You can dance with only one leg and see the snowflake falling. With only one eye, even the blind man can see. That's what they say. If you had a sad child, so what? When Robert Burton said he was melancholy, he meant he was home. I read that by way of maybe trying to trace a little bit of my own path into daily writing discipline. It really started for me when I was an undergraduate at Greenville College, and this is my senior year, and I needed a couple additional credits to graduate. Dr. Rick McPeak was kind enough to offer to do an independent study with me. We called it lyric writing, which in retrospect is funny. I was an a musician. That's what I went. It's my undergraduate degrees in. But we called it lyric writing with the intention of writing song lyrics. And his only expectation of me was that I fill. Oh, I don't even have a notebook with me, but I fill a single page in a notebook every day of the week. So 7 pages per week. And I meet with him at the end of the week and just sit and talk to him about what I'd written. And so I did this. I just would fill up a page, and then I remember going to the little coffee shop on campus, and I would sit across from him at the table, and for the most part he would just... I don't even think he was reading what I had written. He'd just open up the notebook and just doodle on my pages. And I still have these notebooks with these just beautiful, he's an accomplished visual artist in his own right, and I just have these notebooks with these beautiful sort of doodles that he created on my pages, sometimes to the point that I couldn't even read the words that I'd written. in retrospect. But I did this. I wrote every single day. I did it for an entire semester, and filled up an entire notebook. And what I wrote in that notebook largely did become the song lyrics to the first full-length record that I released with my band Barry. And so, I could see the tangible effects of this in something that I created. I created lyrics. But I also felt something deeper than that. I felt how writing every day could really help clarify my own thinking. It became a form of meditation. It grounded me. It became a form of prayer. It allowed me to cry out to God at times, and to process my feelings. And yeah, I guess I just saw in that moment that this was something I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and really with only few exceptions. I'd go a month at a time, or 2 months at a time, maybe, where I'd stray away from this. But for the most part, for the last, the last 18 or 19 years, I've written in a notebook every single day. Sometimes more than others. Sometimes my process has been different. But for the most part, I wake up every morning and I fill up a page. And it's just become a beautiful and incredible part of my life. I guess I've had this rationalized in different ways since doing it, and it's also a practice I try to inflict on my students. If any of you had me in class, you certainly one of your assignments was just to write in a reading journal, and the expectation was the same. The process was transformative to me. And I guess I hoped that the process might be transformative to some of my students as well. But again, the expectation was simple. Just fill up a page in a notebook, and you get credit for it. Anyway, yeah, I guess I've traced a couple different paths. I know that, so Robert Bly, who I read, is one of my favorite poets, and I know he got his idea for writing these morning poems from William Stafford, who's actually a Kansas poet, originally from Hutchinson, I think. But yeah, I'll read a quick bit of his poem, one of his morning poems as well. This is titled "Any Morning." Just lying on the couch and being happy, only humming a little, the quiet sound in the head. Trouble is busy elsewhere at the moment. It has so much to do in the world. People who might judge are mostly asleep. They can't monitor you all the time, and sometimes they forget. When dawn flows over the hedge, you can get up and act busy. Little corners like this, pieces of heaven left lying around, can be picked up and saved. People won't even see that you have them. They are so light and easy to hide. Later in the day, you can act like the others. You can shake your head. You can frown. And I could go on. They both have so much rich content from what they have processed in their lives. But both of these writers have really been an inspiration to me in seeing what entire worlds they can build just through the process of waking up in the morning and writing. A couple of books that I've used actually to teach. Probably the most overt example is Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. She specifically talks about writing these morning pages. And for her, I guess they're more of the intention for her students as she's writing in this is it's low stakes writing. It's writing that you throw away. It's writing that you do to get the garbage out. And something that she recommends you do as early as possible in the morning, such that you, in a lot of ways, set the mood for your day and claim your day. moving forward. Just a quote from her. She says, "Let me be clear. Good writing is not the point. Think of your pages like a whisk broom. You stick the broom into all the corners of your consciousness. If you do this first thing in the morning, you are laying out your track for the day. Pages tell you of your priorities. With the pages in place first thing, you are much less likely to fall in with others' agendas. Your day is your own to spend. You've claimed it. If you wait to write pages at night, you are reviewing a day that has already happened, and that you are powerless to change." So this idea of having this like moment early in the morning where it's on your agenda, you get to choose to do it. You get to choose when to end it. And something about that empowering you, I think, feels very real and present to me. She also talks about sweeping out the corners of your consciousness, and I think that that's really great. I've been to therapy. I hope everyone has been to therapy. I think it's a valuable experience. But I think it's fairly commonplace for therapists to recommend that their clients write. I think therapists know that there's something about the process of putting words down on a page and making things fixed in that way that somehow changes you, and changes you for the better. And so I think that that's implied in some of Cameron's writing here as well. Stephen King has a great, the great novelist Stephen King has a great book titled On Writing. He talks a lot about his process, and I guess I should point out I'm talking about writing a little bit from the perspective as, hey, I'm a writer, I like writing. But I do think that there's reason for everyone to write. Notably, Rick McPeak, I know, who I talked of earlier, who really inspired me in this process. I think he was in turn inspired by the process, and I know that at least for a time I haven't kept up with him. He too, not because he wanted to be a writer, but because he wanted to live a more rich and filled life, began a process of writing daily and sharing that writing with a few friends who also wrote daily. My dad, he's an accountant turned retired substitute teacher. And at some point he asked me more about my writing, and I just encouraged him to take up a journal for much the same reasons I'm presenting here. And I think he's truly enjoyed reflecting on his memories, and he would be the first to tell you he has a horrible memory. But I think it's been a really great process for him as he's growing older to engage with his own thoughts, engage with his own daily experience, document those things, have those things to revisit. And I think it's been meaningful to him in that way as well. But I did write down this Stephen King quote just on, he's as famous as you can get as a writer, and still will tell you that it's not about those things. He says, "Writing isn't about making money, getting famous, getting dates, getting laid, or making friends. In the end, it's about enriching the lives of those who will read your work and enriching your own life as well. It's about getting up, getting well, and getting over. Getting happy, okay? Getting happy." I love that, and then it's about getting up, getting well, and getting over. It's about getting happy. And I don't know if there's much more to say about that, but I think it's great advice from him. Anne Lamott, another writer I use her book Bird by Bird as just a great textbook that I think encourages students to live a life of writing. And she also talks about this regular process of writing, but she also speaks to some of these gifts. She says, one of the gifts of being a writer, I don't think she means that as a professional writer, but just as someone who writes, one of the gifts of being a writer is that it gives you an excuse to do things. to go places and explore. Another is that writing motivates you to look closely at life as it lurches by and tramps around. Again, speaking to my dad's experience, just looking more closely at the lived life, paying attention. Things begin to stand out to you in new ways just because you're trying to think about the thing that you want to write down. You want to think of this image. You want to remember this metaphor. It really does become not just about writing. It becomes about how you experience the world around you. The entirety of your existence, I think, becomes more bright. As Stephen King says, becomes more happy, is more filled. And I really think that is spot on to a lot of my experience as well. I'll close with a quote, another quote from William Stafford. This is not a poem, just him talking about writing as well. Writing itself is one of the great free human activities. It doesn't cost anything. That's me saying that. It's one of the great free human activities. There is scope for individuality and elation and discovery. In writing, for the person who follows with trust and forgiveness what occurs to him, the world remains always ready and deep, an inexhaustible environment with the combined vividness of an actuality and flexibility of a dream. Working back and forth between experience and thought, writers have more than space and time can offer. They have the whole unexplored realm of human vision. For the person who follows with trust and forgiveness what occurs to him, the world remains always ready and deep in an inexhaustible environment with the combined vividness of an actuality and flexibility of a dream. Don't take my word for it. I've found some experts here. These are the people who've inspired me. And I can tell you just from my experience that these things are true. Like prayer, and you can include it as part of your prayer. Like meditation, and you can include it as part of your meditation. To put things down into words, to make things permanent, to organize things in a way that feels worthy of putting them down on a page. I really do think just can transform your entire existence in ways that will be completely unexpected to you. So for what it's worth, that's my little chat on the discipline of daily writing. I would just encourage you, give it a shot, whether it's, whether you're able to do it every day or every other day, or find your time. But see where it takes you. I think if you just sit down with a page in front of you every morning and let flow from your heart what comes out, I think that it will help you experience the world in a different way, in a way that will feel like an improvement. Thanks a lot for listening. I guess I should say, I think this is a video primarily for homecoming and for alumni and graduates, and so those graduating, congratulations. Those who are trying to engage with your college community during this time of pandemic from a distance, our thoughts are with you, and we're sad that we can't have a more bustling campus during this time, and we do hope to get back to something like that in the future. But thank you for engaging. Thank you for watching a video or two. Thank you for tuning in for the other events that are online, and hopefully it's felt like some version of a meaningful connection with people who care about you. And I think that's a really wonderful thing. So thanks a lot, and hope to see you around in person sometime. Come chat with me about writing if this is something you do or pick up. Thanks.